And we're live, friends. Welcome to 2021. I'm Pumla Schmidt, also known as Exchange Goddess, and I have a few of my friends here. And we're going to talk about some positive things because it's been a hell of a week or a year, and it's only day 8.
It's been a long month this week.
Yeah, it's been a long year.
As my cousin said last night, said, welcome to, it feels like December 38th, 2020.
So, yeah, I mean, like, how's everybody doing? I've kind of been out of the loop because of COVID, but I'm back. Yes, I am cold, Al.
Well, in positivity, too, my wife got her first shot, which I put on Twitter. So that's
yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, I'm cold, Al. Actually, I started getting a sore throat again 2 days ago, so I'm just kind of like, okay, we're gonna stay warm and take a lot of vitamins. So we'll, But where did Leon go? He just disappeared.
He'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, 2021. What's everybody looking forward to? Nothing.
It's been such a long 2020 that I don't know what I'm allowed to look forward to in 2021 yet.
Right. You feel like you don't. I don't want to say it out loud because it'll be taken away from me.
Yeah.
But no. I think that's the wrong attitude. I think that we really have to hold on to those things that we are looking forward to. I think that it is reasonable to say that I'm looking forward to seeing people without the risk of inducing or contracting death.
I'm looking forward to hugs.
Yes. Oh my God. I want hugs. I want hugs. And not even like, I'll even take like a half hug. Cause one of those like, so I'm going to hug you, but I'm not going to give you like a full, like crushing hug. Like, I'll even take that at this point. Cause nobody wants to hug me.
So we were chatting in the pre-show about today is Pancake Friday within Microsoft. So there's a group of us who meet. And there's usually a few of us who will just go up and give each other hugs. And that's the last, February of last year was the last pancake lunch that we had in person. And I can't wait until we have a pancake lunch in person again later this year. And we're able to see each other and say hello in person and not have to meet over Teams or StreamYard or whatever. That in-person interaction, I think, is the biggest thing.
Although one of the things that, again, when we were talking earlier before the show started, that you said that I really hope continues is this idea of getting together in informal, non-stressful ways. Like, we've got a team happy hour that goes on, and I actually like the idea of pancake breakfast. It seems a little less fraught as an idea than a happy hour, but prior to 2020, happy hour there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of things going on for me emotionally and psychologically when somebody said, come on out for a happy hour. And there's a lot of calculus that had to happen for a lot of us about going or not going. And the idea that happy hour means getting together and just having a chat and catching up with somebody and taking a breath after work to decompress. I want to see that idea, whether it's with pancakes, and I am 100% on the pancake train with you, totally, or with just tea or time or whatever. I think that is a positive adaptation that should continue.
Absolutely.
I'd like my brain's kind of like, I don't say mush, but that brain fog is absolutely real.
Yeah.
It's so hard to describe. Like, sometimes when I'm talking, certain words I just forget. Like, I have to think about what do I want to say, and my short-term memory is gone. So, yeah, if you ask me to write you a check, I might forget. Or you can keep asking me to write the check for you, and I may just write and go, why did I pay him? Why did I give him money? Right. But yeah. I'm kind of,
See, now everyone's going to go to Pumla and like, no, you didn't write me that check. No, you got to.
You never sent me that PayPal.
Right. And then Venmo, and then Cash App, and then
shit, who did I just give all this money to?
You told me you were going to let me have Scarlett.
Ooh, see, no amount of word hesitation, no amount of brain fog is ever. No,
That is just a lie. Right. Okay. I have it hard coded in my brain. That Scarlett doesn't go to anybody.
Right? Like they talk about like things, tweet something that you would never say that people would know that you're being, held hostage. That would be one of Pumala's was, who wants the keys to Scarlett? You can take her for a drive. Like we know she would never
I'm
say
giving
that.
Scarlett away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Send help then.
Right.
No. My kids keep asking to drive Scarlett. And I'm just like, who the hell do you think I am?
Yeah.
Your
mom, not your
$1 million in liability insurance and be co-signed by 3 people who can vouch for your character.
Yeah, I mean, John has seen what my kids can do to their cars.
Yes.
So the likelihood, I'm just like, not anytime soon. Maybe when Scarlett's about like 10 years old. Yeah, possibly then.
Yeah.
She still smells like a brand new car.
Nice.
Yeah, she's less than 5,000 miles because I don't go anywhere.
Where are you going to go right now?
Well, driving around the block, going around town and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you do put some miles on, but less than 5,000 miles in the car, and I've had it for 6 months.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, you kind of like, it would suck if somebody bought a car this year, and then the whole new car warranty thing. I guess it'd be a good thing. Not that would suck, but yeah, like you would stop your warranty, right? If you bought 3-year, 36,000 miles, most warranties.
It's whatever.
As long as COVID doesn't last for 3 years.
Yeah,
we hope.
Right.
I don't think Tesla
positivity,
get that.
Positivity in 2021.
Yeah,
Positivity in
it's
2021.
good. I'm looking forward to warm weather. Going to the beach. I am going to go to the beach this year. Completely isolated from everyone, but
Right.
warm weather and just seeing people. Someone said I was a superhero now because I've got immunity, but I'm like, that's not, maybe I have some immunity, but it's only good for 30, 60 days.
Right.
So
Just like the flu.
yeah, it is. And I will tell you, I do not want to get this again. It is absolutely horrible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just seeing people. And honestly, from a tech perspective, I'm looking to see what we can do differently. What the tech community can do differently. Because we're always, this whole let's meet online, Zoom, but let's get a little more creative. Like, what else can we do to really bring the community together? There's so much going on out there.
Well, here's I think that our bosses, the people who run companies, might not view this as a positive, but as a long-time remote worker, this I see as a real positive. I honestly don't see a lot of companies that have gone fully remote ever going back, not necessarily because the owners of the company don't want it to go back, but I think it's going to be impossible to get them back, to get the employees back. I think that if a company that is fully remote now said, okay, everybody, we're going to go back to butts and seats. Here we go. Like the resignations would just come in. Like, I don't need this.
But why would you, right?
Right.
You've already showed for the past year, 9 months, right? You've already showed for the past 9 months that you can work remotely and properly too. So why would you go back to some? Because now think about this. You can actually get rid of buildings. If you're leasing offices, you can actually cut back on leases.
Right.
So here in Seattle, REI built a brand new headquarters in Bellevue and decided after it was built, after COVID hit, nope, we're not gonna move in. We're gonna maintain our current location, and there's a couple of spots around town that people can go to if they need to put their butt in a seat and meet in an office, but they're not moving into their new headquarters. And they actually flipped it around and sold it to, I think, Facebook.
I think back to one of our viewers' comments here. Yes, people-to-people contact is definitely needed, but I think there's going to be more acceptance for remote working. So there's definitely going to be, because now we've already proven that you can do it, right? So the ones that want to go back in, go for it. And the ones are like, you know what, I can work comfortably at home and I'm actually more productive. You have that option. I just think there's going to be more options available. It's going to be more flexible. And we're not going to be constrained to, I need to go back to my cubicle. My previous job prior to Microsoft, we actually, we went to do this, I guess, we condensed everybody into like a partial part-time remote work where there are some people that were actually full-time that would have to come back into the office like once every 2 weeks or something. And we actually got rid of a whole building that we were leasing because people were sharing cubicles and whatnot. Like we were utilizing that remote work. Now everyone is remote, so it's doable. And the ones that wanted to come into the office, you had that option. Say, I don't want to do remote work. I want to come in 5 days a week or 3 days a week. And, that person got a cubicle. And if someone that wanted to do remote work, they would get a shared cubicle. And you just, when you come in, you just pick an open cube and work from there. So I think it's going to be more accepted across all industries rather than specific industries or the tech industry or Microsoft, right? Because most of us are remote. I work remote.
I think you're going to see, actually, at least in my opinion, you're going to see it go the other direction for a while. So we've sent everybody home, be as effective as you can be from your house, do your thing, and it worked, or at least it worked well enough for us to be able to do this. But now you've got those decisions where the lease payments are coming due on the building, or we have to sign up and did we really want to move into this bigger place? And I think what's going to happen is we're going to go from people saying you have to be in the office so that your manager can keep an eye on you to I need you to justify the reason why you have to be here, because there is a cost associated with your cube, with your desk, with your office. Yep. And if you can't tell me you promise to be here 3 days a week, or you're an upper management person that has a team that needs to be managed from here, you need to stay home. And then what we'll see shortly thereafter, 3 months down the road, is downsizing those headquarters. I mean, we've seen that already with companies like HPE. The HPE headquarters is moving to Houston. And Aruba is taking their old building, which I'm assuming means they're leaving the one behind the existing Aruba building for Palo Alto Networks, simply because there is a huge price tag associated with real estate in Silicon Valley. And look at the number of companies that are fleeing for Colorado and Texas because it's just cheaper to operate there. I think that, this is a double-edged sword for those of you out there, because you're already seeing the fact that, well, if you're living in a place like Kansas, I don't have to pay you as much as I would have to pay you if you were trying to find a house in Silicon Valley. But more importantly, I don't have to have an office. So we'll have options, absolutely. But I think that those options are going to be things you're going to have to fight for, because you may not have a desk anymore.
So, and in between all of that, and what we've been talking about is very management mandated policies, like what we've talked about so far, which I think is true. I mean, obviously, most corporate policies are mandated by management, but what I'm hopeful that we're going to see is functional decision making when it comes to where you sit. So the statement of, look, you have done an amazing job all year long getting your work done. We trust that you will know whether you need to be in the office working physically together, whiteboarding or talking or whatever in a team-like situation, or whether you're going to be more productive at home without the interruptions and distractions. We trust that you and your manager are going to figure out what that cadence looks like and what that looks like. And by the way, if you and your manager can't agree, that's when we're going to have a policy. But I'm hopeful that we're going to see more of that. Look, when you have to be in, and when you don't have to be in, don't be in.
Yeah.
And I agree that there are going to be some positions that remote works just isn't feasible.
Yeah.
Right.
The manufacturing area, sorry, data center guys. Someone's got to be there.
Right.
I wish we had robots. Well, we could do robots, but there are certain jobs that you do physically have to be there. But even with that, you could rotate.
Right.
You can rotate, and do you need to be on site for your entire shift?
Oh, I never even thought that's true. Maybe like half the day you're at home and you come in, for the afternoon. I mean, I think there's just going to be more possibilities for employees and employers as well, and it can go both ways.
Yeah. I think we're going to see more flexibility. I think the traditional office is not something that we're going to see 40 hours a week, butts in chairs in
But
a
what's the traditional office?
setting.
Let's ask ourselves what. I mean, does that traditional office change in our definition of a traditional office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will have to have a place for people to have shared resources. So whether it's like a video conferencing unit or some kind of a conference table where you have to have an in-person meeting, or if it's like we've talked about, it's an industry where you absolutely can't avoid having that. But most of the industries that kind of have that situation where you have to go into work, whether they're medical or manufacturing, something like that, people don't have offices. There's a floor that they work on, or they work behind a counter somewhere. So I think that what traditional offices are going to end up looking like, strangely enough, is WeWork, where you have your hot desking with some people, you have some shared resources that you use. Man, if only he'd been able to keep that crap together for another year, think of how much money he could have made. And now it's, you're going to see a lot of places transform into that. And the worst thing about it is that all of the building boom that you've been seeing for the last few years of people trying to put up these gigantic office buildings and hoping to get people in them, now they're going to have to maybe turn around and turn those into some kind of a multi-tenant environment just to be able to make the lease payments on the construction.
Okay, so with that being said, shared spaces, how is that playing with the pandemic? Because we all know that this isn't going to go away easily. It's going to be, whether you believe it or not, it's going to be around for a while, right? So I do see us having to take precautions, and I think for a long time, even from the flu and the cold. I mean, before this, I was still taking precautions when I was flying and just being in the office. So, like shared spaces, is that going to be a thing? Or
in terms of companies,
or do we just really advance the technology that we have, or come up with new technology that allows us to work in shared spaces, but yet be remote? Not be remote, but safer.
Safe. Yeah, shared spaces.
Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Liam.
Okay, so I think shared spaces in terms of 2 or more companies utilizing a floor with shared printers or shared, conference rooms or whatever. I think that kind of shared, but not the like cubicle sharing that we were seeing in a lot of places. I think that where the joke was like, yeah, they're going to go to double decker, they're going to build you a bunk bed, you're going to go that's not going to happen.
The company that shared the cubicles.
Which one?
I was going to say lots of them were doing that.
Everyone.
Oh gosh, I can't think of the name that they shared. They rented office spaces. You can go and you can work. Oh, I can't think of the name right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they're sort of around, right?
You're gonna need some new sanitizing technology out of this. I think that's the big thing too. Is you've got to have some way to sanitize those shared spaces and clean them properly before people will be willing to risk themselves with the pandemic right now until everything really calms down.
So about 3 or 4 years ago, a friend of mine, Ryan Adzema, came up with this beautiful idea that leveraged wireless technology and Bluetooth low energy beacons to basically create up like a WeWork system where you have a cubicle farm that you can reserve cubicles for. And I think that this idea of being able to rapidly sanitize things kind of works in that favor, where you're like, okay, I go in and I book this cube for 3 hours because I've got this, I've got a call that I really can't be at home for. Well, then when I check out of that cube at say 1 p.m., then that cube is unavailable for 2 hours while it is cleaned and sanitized. And that comes back to, I may be able to do this, but the people who are doing the cleaning and sanitization and stuff like that, they're going to have to be on site and working. That would give us the capability to be able to manage those expectations and even say, okay, well, if this person came in, we're not going to book any of the cubes directly around them while they're here to create that distance effect. And then whenever we can say, oh, maybe you can provide proof that you've been vaccinated or that you have some kind of an immunity, then what we can do is we can say, all right, for those people who have been vaccinated, we can book them closer together and we can put them in a different part of the office, something like that, just to be able to leverage technology to allow us to start getting closer and closer together. Because as our Vorlon Admiral keeps pointing out, there's a lot of things that just don't work over Zoom. I'll tell you that having Zoom meetings with non-tech people, and specifically with children, one of the things that they are having an extremely hard time with is this idea of being able to talk to people, taking turns, one at a time, picking up on nonverbal communication and things like that. That's something we absolutely have to have in person. And we can't replicate that with video conferencing units right now.
No, you can't. And I'm sorry, but going to school while laying in bed in your pajamas, like going to home. I yell at my daughter every day, get your butt up. Well, I'm in home. No, I don't care if you're in homeroom and your teacher didn't let you in the other class yet. Get your butt up. Sit up straight. If you're gonna be on your bed, turn the lights on, open the blinds. This isn't. I'm just gonna just gonna lay in bed, and I'm, just kind of coasting through school. I mean,
you're nicer than me. I made my son get up, put clothes on, go downstairs, sit in a chair at a desk, and he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because now you feel like you're at school."
Yeah, we have days like that.
Yeah.
I definitely think, with the way things are going, we're going to have, I think there's going to be so much different technology for us to utilize this, because there's gaps, right? We're seeing kids not really getting up, but then do you really want to send them back to school? And even from the sanitation, shared spaces. Maybe someone invents something that sanitizes these workplaces within 30 minutes, some type of UV light. I don't know. I'm not an inventor, but quick sanitation, I think, is going to, that actually, I wish I could patent that.
Like a light that we could put inside the body, or like.
Stop it! Stop it!
Maybe we can check. We have like an iPad.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to.
We hit bottom and we're starting to dig.
I had to swim.
Maybe the light bulbs, have like UV, and then when someone leaves, it there's a button that you press and it just sanitizes the whole area. I don't know, but this leaves us a lot of opportunity for inventions.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody
from
said,
technology standpoint, just think of all the inventions and all the infomercials that are going to come out in the next 2 years.
Somebody said on Twitter just like an hour ago that in the coming year, we're going to see like this explosion in technical innovation, specifically about this, but specifically in reaction to experiences that we've had, and also specifically about completely different things. And one of the things about looking forward to that I was thinking about, one of the notes I made here was like Ratatouille, the TikTok musical. Did you guys hear about this? So somebody started on TikTok by doing a completely off the cuff like song based on the movie Ratatouille, and somebody else set it to a full Broadway score, and somebody else did another song, and somebody did another song, and Disney allowed them a one night showing of this Ratatouille the musical on TikTok. They gave them the rights to do this, and it was a completely new, completely different form of a theatrical experience, not just for the viewer, but also for the creators. That the creators of it, the participants of it, were collaborating in a way that was completely unthinkable, unnecessary, but unthinkable a year ago. And I'm interested in the coming year to see people say, okay, so wait, Ratatouille, the TikTok musical, we've got layered videos where one person lays down. I was just watching, somebody did a sea shanty, and one person lays down the melody track, and then someone else picks it overlapped and does like the bass track, and somebody else layers over those two and does this, so that you have this, again, collaborative approach to creating experiences, whether it's musical or theatrical or whatever. And I think that the coming year, people are, when our options open up, and we're not doing it because we are trapped, we're doing it because it's another method of expressing ourselves. It'll be interesting to see how they leverage it. And the same thing with technology. When it's not, we're on Zoom because we have no choice, but we're on Zoom because we choose to.
I want a replicator that can replicate food and cake at an instant.
I like how specifically cake.
Waiting at least 2 hours
until
Whole Foods to deliver my cake
from Whole Foods.
The Chantilly berry cake. If I have to wait longer than 2 hours, like, I get antsy.
I can rent you space in my house if you want to. My daughter runs a bakery out of our basement.
I know. I stopped.
You could move here, and you could simply like walk down the hall, place your order, and then like there's nothing like having donuts donuts, like freshly, literally right out of the oil on a plate. Here's the sugar. Like there's
so bad.
My family's become so spoiled that if it's more than 2 hours old, it's like, oh my God, this is so old. I can't eat this.
So in the middle of my
I miss
in the middle of my
Corvo.
COVID sickness,
Yeah.
I was craving donuts really bad, like right in the middle of COVID, where I swear, like some days I thought I was dying. And I woke up thinking I'm feeling better because I want donuts. I spent $50 on trying to get donuts to deliver to me, and all I got was a box of like but it was so like I had one and I could barely taste it because my taste was still kind of funky. But it was just the satisfaction that I got donuts and I didn't care that I realized afterwards that I did spend that much money in trying to get myself donuts. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Nobody wants to come see you. No, yeah, like you can't be around people. And it was like I had actually dreamt about donuts for 3 days. It was weird.
And that's another thing in 2021, right? That like we will be able to finally have some of these things that we've been dreaming about, whether it's hugs or donuts. I mean, we all have to prioritize differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
But or just hanging out in the backyard with people, or like whatever it is. I think that's those are the things that keep us going. I think those are the things that are motivating, helping us push forward.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for the innovation, and I think trying to make the best of the situation. 2020 was just a cluster of it was just that's it. It was just yes, 2021 is, I don't want to say starting out like that, but
it tripped. 2021 tripped out of the gate.
The shoelaces were in the way, right? Someone's got to tie back their shoes, make it tight again. I'm sure we're going to trip again, but I'm definitely more hopeful this year. I think because everybody wants it so bad. We all want to feel good again. We all want to wake up smiling, at least for the most part. Everybody know we all want to feel this sense of normalcy. And I don't know what normalcy is anymore, but we all want to feel, I think what we want to feel is good inside. We want to wake up feeling like I'm not in a dystopian world, or yes, Tom. No, I think we all just want to feel good again, because for the most part, I don't think all of us can say that we have felt good.
Yeah,
the last 9 months. I know I haven't.
So as IT folks, I think we can get this, like you said, get back to normal. I don't think back to normal, because before was not so good. I think in retrospect, we can realize all the failure modes that we were experiencing and sort of overlooking. But I also know that as IT folks, oh my gosh, everything has changed. Everything's different, otherwise known as Tuesday. So I think that instead of like new normal or whatever, I've been using the phrase next normal, because it's just like, okay, so here's the next, and not like,
do we need to use normal?
Not well, right? Exactly. It's not like that scene from The Emperor's New Groove, where they're like strapped to the wood and it's floating down the river, and the one guy says, "Don't tell me there's a waterfall up ahead." Jagged rocks at the bottom, probably. Bring it on. Like not like that kind of normal. Like, okay, what's the next thing to punch me in the face? But the next experience of like you said, finding joy, finding good, finding some of the things that we missed, finding ways around the things that we still can't have.
And yes, if I can go to the beach, there'll be more Twitter pictures of my beach legs. Okay.
Right, there we go.
Because there are comments there. I know there's been
one of yours about things that you did get to do in 2020 that were probably on the bench for so long that now it's like we've been able to do these transformations in some industries and some companies that you've been waiting years to do, and finally, because of the pandemic and because of working from home, you had to do stuff.
Remember to wash your hands.
My Google Home tells me
I'm like,
make sure I take lunch.
That scared me.
Tom, what were you saying?
Well, I mean, first of all, if you really wanted to make beach pictures happen, you could have a dump truck full of sand delivered to your backyard tomorrow.
I'm just gonna Say that. Who wants to deliver sand in my backyard and make me a beach?
But I think that kind of speaking to some of these points and also some of the things that are going on in the chat kind of prove that point of we have had like that task list of someday stuff forever. This is the year that I'm going to redo the routing in the environment. This is the year that we're really going to standardize our templates on these things. And they just keep getting tossed in the air because the next fire sprouts up or the next manager comes downstairs and says, this is an emergency. You got to fix it right now. We ripped off so many Band-Aids last year. And we're like, we are, it's like that person who gets their 45th tattoo. It's like, do you even feel it anymore? Nope, I'm good. Let's do this.
Let's do it all day.
But to the point of finding all of these things that don't work and fixing these problems, I used to, kind of still do, spend a lot of time outdoors. And they have a real easy way to fix problems. If this thing doesn't work, you throw it out and you find something else that works. And the rubber meeting the road, the acid test for this thing is we're going to use it. We're not just going to play with it either. We are going to use it. We're going to put it through its paces. We're going to try to, open a metal door with a screwdriver to see if the blade of it breaks. And if it breaks, we're going to get a different screwdriver. That's what we have to start doing in IT, because there's nothing more permanent than a temporary solution. And we've been dealing with temporary solutions built on houses of cards forever. There's an XKCD comic where it's like, a big giant thing. And it's like some project being maintained by a plumber in Waukegan that he wrote on the weekend is the entire linchpin for the whole thing. And we've got to get around that. But more importantly, when something doesn't work, we've got to toss it to the side and tell people, you need to fix this, or you need to stop selling this.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out to all the IT folks. So we got to give props to all the IT people out there. IT pros, they have been, since March? Shit has been thrown at them. Make this work. Everybody needs to work remotely, or make my VPN work.
They rip off the first week of March and just
shit was thrown at. Look at the IT guys at the school district. Can you imagine one school district, 3 IT guys? My daughter's school district, they have 3 tech guys for how many thousands of kids? Like we need to give props to all the IT folks, people on the ground, like
teachers. Hey, go home and teach. Go home and teach everything that you planned this year remotely, and work with the 3 IT guys in the district to be able to do it remotely. Oh, and by the way, we have no budget to help you with it.
Do it free.
Well, I know we have a huge superhero mentality in IT that I really wish we could get away from, but I really do feel like most of the IT departments in 2020 were like Captain America in the climactic scene of Endgame when he stands up after getting busted into the ground and just tightens the strap down on the shield. And he's like, you know what? I can do this all day. Except he doesn't need to say it, and we don't need to say it either, because when someone tosses something over the fence or tells us that you have to spin up 1,000 VPN connection concentrator in 2 days so that we can get everybody back online, we didn't whine, we didn't complain, we didn't say that we needed to do some kind of cost-benefit analysis and have 14 meetings to make it happen. We did it, and teachers did the same thing. When they got sent home, we didn't even think about it. My wife is a teacher. She got and they're back in person school here in Oklahoma. But there was a situation where they got exposed to a potential COVID-19 case, and she didn't even blink. She said, okay, I've already written out my lessons plans. I'm going to go home. We're going to get the home studio set up. I'm going to be teaching remotely and all this other stuff. And I'm like that kind of mentality would go a long way to making sure that the rest of society and the rest of the people that need to be able to function can. And we're already seeing that, from first responders and from healthcare workers and things like that. But there are a lot of cogs in this system that we don't notice. I mean, servers at restaurants are probably the most
are they even being taken care of?
You'd be surprised the number of people who haven't been tipping because I had to come pick up my food, you really didn't do anything. I'm like, and they really still need to eat.
There's a brewery here in Seattle, Bellevue Brewing, some of you know, that a few of us frequent, and a few of us are Mug Club members there. And being a Mug Club member, you get a 20% discount on your bill just by default. And they reopened for in-person for a little bit, and now they're closed again. But when they reopened, I was like, no, take my discount off, because like it's 20%. It's not much, but there's no reason for you to give me a discount because I'm a Mug Club member when I know you guys are barely able to pay your bills. Like, like we need to think about that as people who, like, most of us make a decent wage, and yeah, there's those servers and people out there who are making minimum wage and relying on tips. We have to think about those people and remember, like, we're still getting paid. We still have that 40-hour a week job. We can impact somebody's life by just tipping a little bit better.
I'm actually known on DoorDash as the lady that tips really well. So I've been door dashing a lot, and somebody was delivering McDonald's. Yeah, they were delivering McDonald's to my house, and I think it was one of my kids was outside, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we come to this house a lot." She tips really well. So, but I figure, you know what? I'm sure this is a part-time job for somebody, or even a full-time job, and I know they're not getting paid a lot. I, like you said, I'm getting paid, so I want to make sure that others are, you know, if they're struggling, it's an extra $1 or $2 for me isn't going to hurt me. If it can help somebody else, I'm all for it. In the beginning of the pandemic, I had extra hand wipes that I had in my suitcase, because when I travel, I always have, you know, wipes and also sorts of sanitizer stuff. And I was actually giving them to the Uber drivers, DoorDash drivers, because a lot of them didn't have it, you know, because it was all sold out. So, you know, if I had an extra, I'm like, here, you know, and I hate to say this, but I was giving them out to the ones I could tell that just really needed it, and this was their full-time job, you know, door dashing. This was it, right? They you know, they were bringing money home, and it was a means of survival. So if there's any way that I can help people, I'm all for it. You know, extra tips, you name it. An extra cake. I mean, I give free cake out sometimes.
That's to help yourself.
Right. All right, folks. I have to drop. The sun is setting in the west here, so this has been great. Here's to a delightful, joyous, surprising in all the right ways 2021.
Yes.
Leon. And the rest of the guys, we can hang on for a little bit, but Leon has to go. Thank you. I love, Justin, that you're upside down. It's now, is this a foretelling of 2021? Please tell me.
No, so basically the real thing that happened is so this is the Costco special Dell Inspiron that becomes like a tablet, and it doesn't have the sensor on the camera, so it won't flip over automatically. So I was using it as like a remote. I was using it in tablet mode a while ago and flipped it over and whatever, and then it came on, like, you know, and then it was upside down, and then you guys told me to keep it. So
until you started talking, I just assumed you were in Australia.
Does the toilet spin the opposite direction? Gosh, I gotta ask Oren that. My gosh, I gotta ask him. I have 2 teammates that live in Australia. I should really ask him that. Does the toilet spin the opposite direction? And I will have to admit that this 2020 was a year that I realized and was told that penguins are only in the southern hemisphere. As an adult, I did not know that, and I will fully admit it. I was like, oh shit. And Oren Thomas is the one that told me. He's like, it's only in the southern hemisphere. I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't know that. I'm 43. I didn't know that penguins were in the southern hemisphere. You learn something new every day.
You're not.
They also have them in South Africa.
South Africa, Australia, and islands south of Argentina and Antarctica. They're on 4.
Look, why though? Because we've got the North Pole. Unless Santa doesn't like penguins, is there?
There's
they'd have to go up. I mean, you know, they never had
bears.
So there's no polar bears in Antarctica?
No, there are no polar bears in Antarctica. There are seals. Seals hunt penguins, and penguins can go on land to avoid the seals. Polar bears will find you. That's the problem. They are snacks. They're like those little snack pack pudding cups for a polar bear.
Is this from personal experience that you know? Have you been attacked by a polar bear, Tom?
It's like the end of Roadhouse when they're all like sitting around going, "What happened to you?" I'm like, "Polar bear fell on me."
I didn't realize polar bears were in Oklahoma.
Or the great outdoors with the bald bear.
Yes.
I love
That's one thing I'll say for the pandemic. I'm going back and rewatching movies that I haven't watched in a long time, and some of them hold up. Some of them, no, not even close.
Yeah, I've done that trip down memory lane of movies that I thought were really good back in the day, and now I'm like, I like that.
But with kids, it's even better because like I can my son who turns 15 on Sunday has finally reached. Yeah, thank you. He survived this long, and considering he's a clone of me, that's impressive.
Which car are you giving to him?
I am not. He's going to work for a car.
Nice.
He has finally reached that point where he's asking me questions. So like during the pandemic, he goes, "Hey Dad, my friends were telling me about this movie called Holy Grail." And I'm like, "Down, couch, now we're watching it." And so he loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then he's like, around Halloween, he goes, "Hey Dad, I got to watch the first 10 minutes of Ghostbusters the other day." And I'm like, "Sit down, child, sit down." So like we're going through the old catalog, and I'll even preface them by going like, "This is a classic movie. Half the things you hear me say come from this," or "We're only watching this once because it's that bad."
Yeah.
So
the Monty Python thing. My humanities professor in college one day, we would have movie day, and if you fell asleep during the movie, you failed whatever you had that day. Like if you had a final and the movie was on afterwards and you fell asleep, you got an F on the final. Well, we had movie day and everyone hated it because it was always something terrible. He's like, "All right, this is about the Middle Ages, has all the themes and everything, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be terrible. It's going to be some like British guy and it's going to just monotone. I'm going to fall asleep." Turns it on, Monty Python. I'm like, yes.
So
it was some British guy.
So the other day, I think it was over the weekend, I watched Olympus Has Fallen just because it's on TV. And I was like, yeah, I'm bored. I've seen it plenty of times, but
yeah,
I had it on. I think it was Monday night I had it on.
Yeah.
And now that I look back, I'm like, shit, they spent way too much money. It was overkill. Like all those guns, and that was that hybrid machine gun they had. Like, really, did they really have to go to those extremes?
Yeah.
They could have just wore like a bear suit.
Yeah, I watched those movies on airplanes.
No shirt required.
I know, got a flag draping around. Yeah.
When I paid real money to go see movies in a theater and pour one out for the fact we probably won't have movie theaters by the end of the year. But like I would actually want to go see a movie. Like I'll go see Endgame in the theaters. I'll go see a Marvel movie in the theaters. But like when I'm on an airplane for 4.5, 5 hours flying somewhere,
you watch the bad movies.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna watch Olympus Has Fallen. I'm gonna watch this horrible, like it was some no-name martial arts movie. Everyone's like, "Well, why?" I'm like, "Because I'm not gonna waste a perfectly good movie on an iPad mini size screen, crammed into an airplane seat."
Yeah.
No, I watched Angel Has Fallen on my flight back from Johannesburg to Paris. I watched it twice. I was like, okay, I can watch this. And again, overkill. Seriously, the drones, you didn't have to do that. We all know you don't have to do that now.
If anybody wrote the script for this week, it would have gotten thrown out of Hollywood instantly because they're like, "This is unbelievable bull crap."
Yeah.
Seriously.
We need more guns.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't need any, or maybe very few. Yeah. You know what? I wonder what Hollywood's gonna do now, because like all these movies, right? It's guns. It's this, bombs. It's this force of action to take over, whatever government institution there is. Now we know you really don't need that. You just need a really good clown suit, a bear suit to get through. So how's Hollywood gonna respond?
Nobody goes to the movies for reality.
I know, but it's like now we're gonna look at it and go, yeah, no. You didn't need, all those RPGs. Like seriously, I could drape an American flag. Yeah,
Hollywood is gonna have to.
Will they adapt?
Have to change no matter what. Because the distribution mechanism is not gonna be there. I mean, yes, Tom, like you were saying, I would love to go back to a movie theater. I would love to sit down and buy the $10 small popcorn that you get 3 bites out of, and you're like, "Oh, this is stale and it's terrible," but I'm gonna sit here. and the $20 small soft drink.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and do that, but it's gonna take.
Well, I fixed that problem because I got a subscription to HBO Max and I charge my kids to watch things on it. And so I'm going to recoup my investment really
Nice.
quickly. Like I may be able to afford a real popcorn machine pretty soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. I didn't even
I'm
think about
very
charging my
happy.
kids.
I am very happy that the major studios like Warner Brothers have decided that is their distribution model, at least for the next 12 months, because it proves viability.
It does.
Actually cuts down on piracy. Because now I don't have to look at it and go, I'm not going to pay $75 to watch the new Matrix movie with my wife.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to pay for it. Now, granted, my couch isn't quite as comfortable as the super reclining 3D screen.
Yeah.
But you can
whatever.
you can just add memory foam
Yeah.
and maybe a couple blankets.
I got to charge
Hello?
the kids more if I'm going to start adding memory foam to everything.
Yeah, see, I agree with you.
Premium seating options.
So
The HBO streaming, the was early access on Prime. I've been living this shit up because
I actually,
Oh, go ahead.
I actually wonder though with the it was because of the pandemic, it forced there was a lot of reasons movies come out first because there's a bunch of the IATSE and the all the unions have these contracts based on the model of going out first and then the video and all that stuff. So I'm kind of wondering if because we had the pandemic, it forced their hand. It's kind of forced them to renegotiate in a way none of them would ever negotiate. Now they were all forced to come to the table and they have this kind of new model and now they kind of
I hope
were
they
forced
keep
to.
it.
Yeah, I do hope they keep it. I
Yeah,
do hope they say okay.
I love the Christmas Day. I streamed Wonder Woman 1984, and we were so excited about it. Like I had my kids there, and it was great. But the movie sucked ass. It was awful.
I don't know.
But
It was not horrible.
oh come on, it was way too long. They just you're just kind of what? I was very disappointed.
Okay.
Except for Chris Pine,
was
I
it
thought he
Marvel
looked
movie?
very well.
Was it Marvel movie good?
No.
Absolutely not. Was it Justice League bad? Absolutely
I
not.
think the screenplay was bad. The screenplay was awful, but I love the fact that I could have everybody there, right? And it was cheaper for me because it was like, here's popcorn, or here's a steak if you want. Here's some beer if you want. I didn't have, like you said, you're not spending $75 to $200 going to see a movie. It was right there on my TV, and I was in my freaking pajamas. It was awesome. I want them to continue that because I think it actually brings people together. Because you're not spending so much money. You have got one subscription or maybe two subscriptions, but people are able to come together. Families can, be there. You can watch it and you're not spending an exorbitant amount of money for popcorn.
I think what you're going to end up seeing, movie theaters will survive, but not as we know them now. So AMC and Regal and Carmike and all those other companies are going to be gone. And what you're going to see is the movie theaters are going to be operated by the studios. So they're basically going to treat it like a multi-tenant thing where they rent screens. And this is the Disney theater. Well, we were going to rent a couple of screens to Universal.
What do you offer though?
What do
The
you offer?
experience of being at a Disney theater because of
No,
Disney?
they're going to amp it up. They're going to make it huge. So it's going to be these are going to be the only places you can buy or watch 3D or IMAX. And that's what they're going to start focusing on.
That's kind of what already exists. Just they're already, if you see the reason concessions cost so much is because they're basically just renting out the it's very similar to the model you're just describing. It's kind of already there. I don't see that.
But the funny thing is that what you had there is the concessions are high because that's where the theater makes the money because they owe so much money back to the companies that distribute the movies. Well, if the companies that are distributing the movies are the ones that are operating the theaters, they can afford to lower the prices just a little bit, not much, to recoup the investment because now they don't have to negotiate with AMC because AMC obviously wants to get a little bit of the ticket price. Plus, they are going to have to lower the pricing of all of the combined experience in order to get people to want to come back in. Medical issues aside, Boom's right. I really do not want to go anywhere if I can have the ability to watch The Matrix and Wonder Woman and whatever other movie right here because I don't want to have to schedule my entire day around that. I don't want to have to hire a babysitter. I don't want to have to, do all the other stuff. It's too convenient and they're going to have to make me want to pay something or give me an experience I can't get that outweighs the convenience of being able to watch, I don't know, Deadpool 3 in my underwear.
The other thing that you're going to
Don't we
see, I
all watch
think,
Deadpool 3 in
is-
underwear?
I got thrown out for that. So
the other thing I think you'll see too is like ISPs. So the evil empire cable towns of the world that I used to work for will have to change their business models on data caps and speed and
Oh, they need to stop
everything.
that
They're
shit.
going to have to provide better service, and they're going to have to remove the data caps because they're, let's just call it how it is, they're BS as they are.
That's you Comcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that cap off, please.
Yeah, it's unnecessary, and they're gonna have to invest in their networks. The old Time Warners of the country, because I used to live in Ohio, and the best I could get was like 50 down and 2 up. And they were like, "Oh, this is the best service out there." I'm like, "I can get gig if I move to a Comcast neighborhood."
yeah,
Comcast caps you too. Comcast. Let me just tell you, I'm gonna have to pay extra because of all those extra data. They really need to get rid of it because everyone's at home.
They will. They will.
And all
They
kids
will
need to
totally.
stream YouTube. Okay, trust me. All kids need to do that. Plus your parents, because my dad can't live without his Thai soap operas.
So I have Cox Communications, and for in the first few months of the pandemic, they were very gracious. And when I say gracious, they were not gouging me. And now, close to the end, when school started, I started getting those little notifications. You've used 75% of your data allocation. I'm like, where did that come from? And so you can better believe that I've been on top of them all the time when they're like, oh, well, you've used 75% of your data allocation. I'm like, oh, really? Your network went down for 7 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm going to pay for your service and be under threat of having to pay more because I'm literally stuck inside, you can better believe that I'm going to make sure your service is available at the speeds you advertise as often as I want it to be available. And I have brand new other company fiber 2 blocks that way. I have been petitioning them every week to run that this direction so that I can walk into the Cox office with all of my cable modem equipment and everything and drop it on their desk and be like, you can take this and your data cap, and I'll tell you where you can run that fiber.
Yeah.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. I'll even record it. I'll put it on TikTok so that
Because
people
you can come over here and you can talk to Comcast for me too. Because my bill is getting a little. I'm very irritated that I am being charged extra now because of the extra data I'm using. Hello.
I hate it when I call them.
Yeah, I'm like, hello. Everyone's at home. Between two 70-year-old adults that need to live stream or stream their Thai soap operas all day long, and you have a 14-year-old that feels like YouTube and TikTok and everything else is mandatory, plus being in school at the same time, which uses video, of course. And then when am I supposed to work, right? Because we're on video too. Yeah, my data is going to be a little bit high, and then I stream all my movies, my TV. Like, they're just going to have to realize that, like you said, invest in your infrastructure. People are going to use more data. Let's get with the program. Take those caps off.
Yeah. It's just gonna. I mean, it's gonna have to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's the new norm. I'm gonna say it.
Well,
the next norm.
Remember when we could get cell phones and data was unlimited and you had to pay for more than 200 minutes of talk time and nights and weekends? And now look at the model. The model is completely flipped on its head because the usage pattern changed so much that no provider could get away with offering that. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. When you only use your home internet a little bit in the evening to watch cable and maybe occasionally download a game update, it was one thing. Now that you're stuck at home, or you're trying to conduct business or schooling or what have you from the house, you really don't have much of an option. And this antiquated service provider model is going to have to go away. And I honestly believe that the data cap thing right now is an opportunity that they're trying to stall out before they need to do the next round of equipment upgrades. because they know they have to.
Yeah,
But-
but you know what? It also takes time, right? And plus the equipment, supply chain.
Having worked for the Evil Empire, the bandwidth is there. The
But what if you
bandwidth
need
is
to
there
upgrade
and
equipment?
available. Trust me.
What if you need to upgrade the equipment and the parts that you need aren't readily available right now because the supply chain is so backed up?
Then you did a horrible job of planning your network upgrades.
Right.
Isn't that
Right,
everybody?
so-
Or isn't that
so-
most organizations? Come on, let's be realistic.
Okay,
I've worked in several
would
large
buy-
enterprises.
I would buy incompetence in a normal enterprise, but these are service providers.
So
It's not
True, service
incompetence.
providers
So
should
I-
be
It's greed.
on par.
I
Nobody-
do have some insight into some areas. So as part of some of the transition work and part of the spin-offs of certain things, certain companies decided not to invest in certain areas,
Mhm.
knowing that things were going to change. And then when things didn't change, they were stuck with a hunk of junk that they knew was broken, and knew was going to be a problem because they were just going to leave it for somebody else to fix. And so, yeah, there are some areas where there is equipment that needs to be upgraded, but the vast majority of most areas are perfectly fine from a back end perspective. It's really about what can they charge people and get away with for the time being. How can
Apparently
they
a lot.
monetize the service as best as possible?
Nobody leaves deeper fingerprints in every dollar they spend than your average service provider.
Yeah, they can do a lot, right? Because are we really going to do anything about it? No, because we need the service. Well, right now we need the service.
You don't have an option.
It's you're pretty much SOL. So you're like, okay, my price increased. I'm gonna complain about it. I'm gonna live stream complain about it, but am I really gonna do anything? I
No.
need it. And they know it.
When
I
your
don't know.
option is X or Y, and Y is dial up / DSL, whatever.
Or terrible
Going with
LTE
that.
coverage with the data cap.
Satellite.
That'll yeah.
Starlink! Starlink!
Starlink.
Sorry,
Starlink is an
Teresa.
option.
You know,
I know people who have used it and swear by it and say it's amazing. So
Teresa uses it,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have a choice, right? She lives in the boonies where it's like, I think at one point we were trying to get fiber. Like we're going to rent like a backhoe and dig up some fiber for it because where she lives, it's ridiculous. Like they
Yeah.
just don't have the equipment there, the infrastructure. So she has been running on satellite. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
You do what you can do, right? You pay what you have to pay because they know it.
Yep. But I think the new rules around if you build a new road, you have to bury fiber with it and everything. Like there's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to happen in the country still, for sure. But there's a lot of good that has come over the last few years, I would say, with some of the new rules and stuff that are in place.
Okay, guys. So we've been on for about the hour. I just DoorDashed 3 Whoppers and 2 Whopper Juniors with cheese, onion rings, 2 large onion rings, and a large fry for myself.
Are you feeding an army over there?
No, that's just me. That's
I can't even eat that much.
when
Neither-
I'm getting my appetite back. I'm actually looking at Whole Foods right now to see if they have any more cake that I can get delivered to me before 8. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to is to
Mama
be
took her
able.
out for seafood when she was here in Seattle, and we got the seafood for 2, and I was
Really for 2?
I think it was like 3 actually. I think we actually did 3, and I was afraid I may not get anything out of the food.
Don't
I
reach in.
shared.
You'll
I
pull nothing
did.
out.
I did share.
She
I
got
mean,
dessert too, and the dessert was the size of her head.
I was like, "Do you want that? Because if you don't eat, I'll take it." I'm looking forward to eating more in 2021, and making sure my deliveries are quicker than what they are now. That's you, Whole Foods, and DoorDash. If we can
Food
make
and
just a little bit-
travel.
yeah, if we can make just a little bit quicker, so I don't have to wait that long, that would be awesome. But I'm looking forward to doing more of this, and then also seeing you guys in person. I want a hug from each of y'all.
Yeah.
So there we go, guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a great year, and I guess we'll see you on the Twitters out there.
Yep.
And if anything else goes out, I guess you'll hear me moaning and complaining. Anything happens this weekend. So, bye.
Bye.